Hello, fellow heroes, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I've actually been enjoying this game a fair amount. To be fair, I kind of enjoy every Call of Duty, most Call of Duties, that's not true. The last couple ones, these last couple years, besides the Modern Warfare ones, I've really just skipped out. They just didn't feel that great, they didn't feel that good. And the multiplayer for this one almost felt the same way. The campaign... it's kind of like that too. Zombies was really fun and mixed up. And I want to go into all of that and talk about really what made this game good. Is it really a 9 out of 10? I don't really think so. I think if you are a fan of Call of Duty games, you're going to get what you like from Call of Duty games. The feel of Black Ops is still here, but the whole mobility thing kind of changes things up, and that's the key feature of this game and the key mechanic of this game right here when it comes to playing it. Unfortunately, during what I have now, I've been just now getting into the mobility more, but really it's kind of just the new drop shotting or jumping around the corners, but that's kind of like the gimmick that helps you in this game mode more than all the other game modes, is going in sliding. And if you really wanted to get the hang of it, they have these new specialist perks, which we can talk about in a little bit, that kind of help you out with that. But that's really the main gimmick of this game, is being able to go into a fight sliding around and choosing when not to slide and when to slide. I do want to start off by talking about the campaign. And the IGN went and gave this game like a 9 out of 10 for its campaign, because it had missions that had consequences behind them, or you got to choose and things like that. I don't think that this game's campaign is a 9 out of 10. The main reason I don't think it's a 9 out of 10 is because what it does really well is it takes from other games like Metal Gear Solid's open world system. You have some horror elements and RPG moments that are reminiscent of BioShock, and then you have just the Call of Duty gameplay mixed in with all of that, and the storytelling is lacking, but the third act of the story brings it all together. Why is it not a 9 out of 10 if it has so many good features? Really, it's because it's kind of an echo chamber of what those things are. We've seen those things when they're really good, and Call of Duty kind of takes the essence of it, but doesn't capture its soul, and you get kind of like a knockoff version of all those things. Now, that doesn't mean that it's bad, and what Call of Duty does is it makes sure that those moments, those missions, don't overstay their welcome. So you play them for one mission, whether you liked it or didn't like it, you're going to get something new. And the campaign does a great job at making sure you are having those new experiences all the time. Missions like this one right here that we're seeing on screen was probably one of my more favorite missions, because it is the most Call of Duty mission. It's kind of just run and gun, a bunch of crazy stuff is happening, and you're interacting with the map sort of in a like avoidance way to make it go. So what really makes the campaign come together is the fact that it is not punishing. I think it is absolutely crucial when video games nail the difference between punishing and challenging. And how this game makes things challenging is it says do whatever you want. There are entire missions that are devoted to stealth, but if you want to go loud and proud and start killing everybody, it's not like you're playing Star Wars Outlaws. The game never punishes you for that, never increases the difficulty, but it will reward you for playing the level how it's supposed to be designed. And that's the difference between the challenging and punishing. You don't outright get killed or sent or restarted to your very last checkpoint for not doing what the game tells you to do. The game's like, hey, you might enjoy this level if you experience it in this fashion. And then you're like, okay, I'll try to do it that way, and you get rewarded for that. And some of those rewards come in the form of actually getting kill streaks that go on cooldown. You get to reuse over and over again because you took the time to explore the open world of a certain map and was able to go and really destroy what it needs you to destroy. Or maybe you stealth the whole time and you sabotage things, and the game allowed you to be creative with how you wanted to sabotage things. So later on, when things started getting really Call of Duty and you have to go run and gun some things, you then got to not have to deal with the crap like the super armored enemies or a chopper gunner or things like that, because you went out of your way to play the level how it was kind of designed to be played. Now, what I also liked about the game, which again, this kind of goes hand in hand to where like the game is very echoed, it's kind of a knockoff of things, was the fact that the campaign offered like upgrades. You could go and you could find money, and then you can go back to your base and you can use that money to upgrade your equipment or your play style. I really liked running and gunning and doing just going in and shooting people, so I didn't really care about upgrading my tactical or my lethals with the tech. I really didn't care about my gun attachments or what I could do with my gun attachments, because I just picked up stuff. And you'll notice that like in the campaign, whenever you played it, there are going to be armored characters. There's going to be characters that just turn into bullet sponges, and I enjoy just being able to kill someone really fast and continuing to do that. And so an upgrade that allowed me to kill those guys even faster made the second half of the game all that much more of a breeze, and rewarded me for really playing the way that I wanted to play. So this campaign does a lot of things that current RPG games can't grasp and understand. And it coming from a Call of Duty game, that says something. That really does go out of its way and say something. And I understand why games journalists and I like IGN would want to give it a 9 out of 10, because it really speaks to the players and wants the players to have fun and wants to reward the players through challenging experiences. However, for Call of Duty campaign and its unique experience, I would still have to say it's like a 7.5 or an 8. The experience can be short-lived and can feel redundant with the missions. The missions, once you start them, they're kind of, the gimmick is already done too soon and it gets old real quick. But they're tons of fun. It's not a campaign I can see myself replaying over and over again, and it doesn't really have memorable moments like Call of Duty of the old used to have. Yet, it in itself, mechanically speaking, does better than a lot of games today. And that much I have to appreciate and have to respect it for doing such things. Now, if we were to move on from the Call of Duty game, the story. I almost forgot about talking about the story. My favorite thing about any type of game. The story is kind of just like Black Ops going against a private military organization. It's kind of just America versus American terrorists, and Americans being fed up with their government and thinking they can take matters into their own hands, or I should say veterans of that sort. It's not too interesting, and you don't really care what's happening until the third act. And the reason why is because a lot of the information is expository. It's being told at you whenever you go back to base, and it's kind of just recapping the story. And, you know, it's very just informative. And that doesn't really captivate you into the story, which is weird because, like, into the third act, it completely changes the formula and how it writes itself. And you have to play as essentially the main villain. And when you play as the main villain, I was like, man, I don't want to play as this girl. I don't want to play as this person. I don't want to do this. I don't care for this. But then they make it to where you empathize with that character. And you'll hear me say this all the time in my reviews. When it comes to story, empathy is key and crazy important to storytelling. So I think they really flipped the script quite literally on the third act of the game and made the story come together and made you invested. And it sucks that you kind of have to wait till the third act for it to be starting to get good and really get you enticed in things, which is why the story's good, but not good because it takes too long to get to those moments. So whereas the campaign, I still say it's like a 7.5, probably like an 8. Man, I was leaning towards 7.5. But I want to now talk about zombies. Zombies, I kind of want to just get it out of the way. I want to discuss it and not really go too far into it, mainly due to the fact that I don't really play a lot of zombies. The most I ever played zombies was quite literally just Black Ops, and I've always touched it. But you know, you played zombies once, you kind of played them all. That doesn't. I do like that Call of Duty gives us all something to do. It has something for everyone. The zombies is just one of those things where it's like, if you want to grind, if you want to kind of turn off your brain a little bit and farm some things, you can usually do that. Or so I thought going into Black Ops 6 Zombies, when then I realized, oh, they've added like monsters and things like that, and which is stuff that I'm like familiar with, like having like elite monsters. But there are two different types. There's the Mangler, then there's the Almonger. There's the dude with the creepy arms. He snatches you, grabs you, and bites you. And then the other dude that has the freaking Mega Blaster on his arm, and he shoots you. Those guys really change it up. It makes it to where like normally I could run an entire zombie game in this room. I could literally just have a zombie train in this room and I would be okay for hours till wave 25, wave 50. I could even push it. But whenever you have these elite guys come in, it's like, wow, I can no longer just have a train rolling and things like that. And again, I haven't really been playing zombies that much, but from my experience here, you got the main story that's going on, the campaign, and what I really liked were some of the mini games and missions that you had to do while playing zombies. It made the game more engaging because it can be very easy to just grind out. All right, leave the crawler, guys. All right, we got the crawler. All right, who needs Juggernaut? Who needs the Pack-a-Punch? Okay, who needs anyone need lethals? You don't got money? Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna do this next time. All right, you find the teddy bear. All right, don't shoot the meteors yet. Let's wait till till like 55. That's where we lost last time. It can be so simple to just like get into that like routine of things, but then you have these missions that will do things like get 25 kills with RC car. And you can work together as a team to make that happen, and they're on a time limit. So, there's this urgency that's happening because of it. And the pack-a-punching weapons feel good, and some of them, like this pistol right here, transform. You may think, oh, why would I want this pistol? And then later on, I think I have it. Later on, you start to see like, oh, okay, it's an explosive pistol. It's almost like having the freaking ray gun, except it blows up. It's grenade launching a Glock is what it turns out to be. So overall, the zombie experience is just fun. It's just a good time. If you like zombies, go do it. If you don't like zombies, I still think it's worth checking out. It'll give you a challenge for sure, and it'll give you and your friends something to do for a couple of hours. And also, it's just an added experience to this whole game. To its entirety. Whenever we go and we look at multiplayer, I spoke on this before, where the gimmick of multiplayer really comes down to the sliding around. Now, this is early on when I was playing. I've since put in more hours, and the recon is what I heard a lot of people kind of complaining about. We've seen clips on Twitter where people are using the recon. They're spawning in. I got a clip right here for you guys. So it's really cool. It's really funny, but this is kind of what people are freaking out.
Ready to grind some double XP. That's what we're trying to do, baby.
Double XP weekend. I had a great time with double XP. So look at this. He goes in on a different specialist, switches to the recon class, sees everyone through the walls. Boom, boom, boom. Does he get it? He gets it with the pistol. And just gets a freaking...
Recon, very fair.
Everybody. Kills everybody using the recon
Boys,
class.
very fair.
So what is this? What's the whole recon? What's going on here? What you're seeing here and everything that's going on here is that there's the specialist perk that's happening. And so we have, if you have all blue, all red, all green perks, you can essentially get this upgraded version of the perk. And what that does is it gives you things that have been in previous Call of Duty games, like whenever someone's looking at you from out of sight, you get the highlighted icon and things like that. Or whenever you get a kill, it heals you. And so Recon allows you to look through the thing about this is like you can switch out your loadouts, or I guess reuse your loadouts while 15 seconds in between spawns. And so this guy abuses that system, runs as far as he can go, switches to a different loadout because he's still allowed to. The game thinks he's respawning, and when you respawn with the Recon loadout, you get wall hacks for a little bit, you get to see through walls, and he uses that to win the round. It's really cool. I think the Recon, I think a lot of people think the Recon's OP, broken, needs to be nerfed. At the moment, I understand why, but it's weird because like Call of Duty designs their maps to essentially be made for camping. And whenever you do something like that and you have a thing like Recon, it's interesting when you see the guy he's camping, or you see everyone's running to one side of the map, or you see people are just spawning or not spawning, or they're on the objective. And so it kind of plays into that whole like, oh, let's stop if you don't like people camping, do all that stuff. But since then, I've been using the red specialist, the Reaper specialist. And the reason I'm going into depth and talking about this is because the Reaper specialist focuses more on kind of what I believe is the core of what Black Ops 6 multiplayer is. It's the mobility aspect of the game. And if you can master the mobility, you essentially will just dominate and go ahead of all the leaderboards. The Reaper one allows it to be easier for you to essentially slide and gun, jump and gun, be mobile and gun, because you will win your gunfights if you are more mobile. I have realized like 8 out of 10 times if I slide when I see someone, regardless if they shoot first or not, I'm gonna win that gunfight, rather than kind of just like trying to play it like Valorant and hold corners or hold sights or hold angles and shoot them as they jump. And when you turn on specialists, it becomes super easy to essentially like get kills while sliding. And the reason why I think a lot of people should start out with specialists and force themselves to play like that is that they'll get a feel of the game, and then you can switch off. Because I've seen players play on the green specialist mode on tracker, and what that ends up doing is they get kind of the best of both worlds. So if I show you right here, we look right here, we see strategists earn score bonus for objectives and destroying enemy equipment, see equipment through walls, deploy equipment, field upgrades faster. And that is nuts. That's crazy because people will play like they're an enforcer. I called it Reaper earlier because it had the Grim Reaper. People will play like they're enforcers, but they'll have the strategist on. So they'll get a ton of points for playing OBJ, and then they've gotten good at sliding and they don't care. And they also have gun attachments to help you slide and do better and things like that. And they've gotten the gun attachments, and then boom, goes in, plays like an enforcer, gets kills like they're on the enforcer, but they're getting all the benefits of strategists. Specialists in their entirety, I don't think have been popular. I think some people just don't like them and rather just like mix up the perks, because I've seen a mix of both. I've seen people mixing up their perks, but I've seen people using specialties. I played the game for probably 10 hours before I realized specialties were even a thing. Field upgrades are okay. I'm not complaining about that. Lethals are good. Tacticals are good. Wild cards are good. I haven't really found many primary weapons that are that great. I've been sticking with the M4. This is probably the most used gun, the gun I've used the most. I've tried SMGs. The snipers are good. They're not as quick as in Modern Warfare. They're slowed down, and there's some ways to make them quicker, but you're not going to be quick scoping like you could in Modern Warfare. You can't treat them. I just don't like the way a lot of the guns feel, and that could just be because of the time to kill in the game. Time to kill in the game is relatively long, and it feels long, and I think that's where the mobility really comes in, because instead of making everything a 50-50, if you take control of the mobility, you really take control of kills and things of that nature. It's kind of, I love the progression in this game. It's just classic COD. You just go, I can't wait to get the Asval. I used it during the campaign. It's just my favorite gun. I name my World of Warcraft character after this gun. I name all my female characters Val, and if Val's taken, I take Asval. I just want this gun so bad. I'm so close to having it, and if I get it and it sucks, we're just not going to talk about that. But you get the gun that you want. Guns unlocked based on level, which I love. I hate that system of get the M4. If you want to get the Asval, you gotta upgrade the M4, which then you gotta use the shotgun, which then you gotta use this LMG, which then you gotta use this SMG, and now you got the Asval. Sure, it allowed you to get the guns you want when you wanted to, but boy, oh boy, did I not like having to use a shotgun for whatever reason and grind that out to get that gun. So it's the classic progression. The attachments, you can really just put on 5 attachments, which is more than enough. I have the gunfighter perk because I was just trying it out, seeing what I got. Knife is interesting. Everyone always has a knife on them. You get to just hold down the melee button and you just have a knife. So if you want to run around knife, you're pretty fast with it too. And because of mobility, you can get knife kills. I have some knife kills here because I'm trying to get some calling cards. But my biggest complaint about the multiplayer, there's no sex appeal. I'm sure once these characters get skins, we got like 2 baddies, maybe 3. She's a baddie, but she's wearing a mask, and you can't see her until she's Prestige 9 level 50. We do have some cool skins like zombie skins and stuff like that, but they're locked behind a paywall. And this one, the portrait may look alright, but I'm just yeah. That's my biggest complaint about the multiplayer. Other than that, multiplayer is fun. The maps, they could do some readjusting. I think the small maps are fine. The small maps are designed great. A lot of the reason the small maps are good is because they got the 3-lane system going for them. I'm playing Nuketown. Oh, I'm playing Dragon Age there. But whenever you get to the bigger maps in multiplayer, a lot of them need to be reduced by like 30-40%. Those maps are just too big. Like the soccer map, for whatever reason, there's an outside portion of the map that's like a parking lot. There's 2 outside portions of the map. There's one where you're on the soccer field, and then there's one where you're on the outside parking lot. I feel like you could get rid of the parking lot entirely. Like the parking lot is its own map. It has essentially 2 lanes for itself. And there are times where I'm like, okay, it makes sense that the maps are this big, but there is a lot of noise. There's a lot of stuff going on in the maps. I'm also someone who comes from like more of a Halo background, so I appreciate when the maps are simplified and it's just for gunplay and things like that. But I don't know. The big maps just aren't as great. The big maps should just be reduced. So that's been the Call of Duty experience for me. I'm having a lot of fun. I find myself being like, one more game. I'll probably be trying to do some calling card achievements or some challenges just so I can have some calling cards that I looked up and found and thought were really cool. And so if you want to see me die a bunch trying to get those done, check out the stream. Now, if you want to see more reviews and stuff like that, subscribe to the channel, like the video and things like that. If I were to rate the Call of Duty Black Ops 6, I would recommend it to people who like Call of Duty, and things like that. It's also, it's on Xbox Game Pass right now, so you don't really have to pay for it if you're already subscribed to that. and it's a good time. Like if you feel like you didn't like the gimmicks of the last game, this one still has a gimmick, but you can still play it the way you want to play it, and it has a lot to offer. It has a lot of fun to offer too. That's the good thing about it. Overall, this Call of Duty game, it's good. It's a good time. I don't know. There's nothing like innovating or crazy or new about it. It's stuff we've already seen before. So I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. If we're comparing it to other Call of Duty games, like an 8 out of 10. But my verdict's like a 7 out of 10. It's good. It's good. It's fun. I'll probably be done with it after like 3 months, 2 months. But until next time, guys, play nice.